What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Robbie. We are back to react. This is going to be coming from Blackie Speaks. Tyler, the creator, is tired of being famous. I would imagine at this point in your career, I mean, you've been in the game, what, 10 plus years? I would imagine that the fame is definitely worn out. And at this point, you just want the fortune, even though that comes with its own set of problems. But we ain't gonna waste no time. Let's get to the video.
If you guys haven't seen this rant Tyler, the creator, went on Instagram yesterday. Basically, a few weeks ago, he was out at a bookstore in Mexico City, just minding his business, living his life. The owner of that bookstore then decided to post surveillance footage of Tyler inside, just being there on their social media account. And keep in mind, he didn't consent to any of this stuff. He didn't ask for this. He's literally just existing inside, and now he's turned into content. The bookstore owner ended up posting it anyway, which is honestly a pretty clear breach of privacy. We'll talk about that later. And then the post that they put up ends up blowing up on Instagram. We're talking tens of thousands of likes, thousands of shares. It spreads. And we're going to talk about why that's wrong in a second. But more importantly, Tyler actually went on what I would say is a very much needed rant about the reality of being famous and what that actually looks like behind the scenes. And what he said ties into a lot of the stories we've been covering recently, like the Ice Spice situation where she was literally just at McDonald's eating a Big Mac or whatever, minding her own business, and then somebody pulled up on her, a Mac hater, and assaulted her. We've been seeing more and more of these types of stories as of lately. So I want to go over exactly what Tyler said, because he ended up posting what looks like a screenshot of the bookstore's post, or maybe he reshared the reel itself. It's a little bit unclear what it is, but he responded with a long caption. So annoying, just exist and live in, mind your business, and the next thing you know, it's security cameras footage of you just exist and uploaded, so folks can either prove they saw you or get some engagement they crave. I understand the excitement, but the behavior is going to morph into everyone having footage or anything involving them uploaded for content. Doctor's office, grocery store, with the way Ring cameras and other home things are, soon brushing your teeth or taking a piss is going to become content without you knowing. He's right, and that's kind of creepy. LOL, why did he look at the sink like that? Who gets blood work in a hat like that? Type of comments will flood, rather than folks really understanding how weird it is. Sucks too, because I congratulated this girl on her amazing bookstore, keeping physical media alive, even signed something out of pure appreciation for what she was doing, which is very nice of him, and this is how she repays him. I want to be able to brush this off, but I'm going to keep being vocal about this. Y'all know how I feel with the relationship people think they have with musicians, actors, etc., just because they like some songs or a movie or clothing, etc. Not over here. Space should be respected no matter how many lyrics you know. Love. So as you can see, he was pretty nice to the bookstore owner, and I think that's a really kind gesture of him to do what he did.
Yeah, the thing with Tyler is, and I can respect him for that. Like, he's definitely one of them artists that, you know, has that about him. He, for one, he appreciates his craft, being a musician, but then also having that respect there and, you know, keeping one's distance, space. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to, you know, be a, you know, fan of the music, but you got to be mindful of people's, you know, space, personal space.
And then this is how she pays him back, right? Now, Tyler said a whole lot here that I want to talk about. First of all, keep in mind, guys, he's the one who posted about this. I hadn't seen any of it until I saw his Instagram story. So I'm not adding fuel to the fire or exposing anything he hasn't already put out himself. Just want to make that very clear, right? And you even heard him say that he's going to keep being vocal about this. So clearly, he's open to people actually having a conversation about his perspective. With that being said, this person should be ashamed of themselves. And this ties into a much bigger issue that's become really pervasive on social media. We're basically living in a surveillance era where people are constantly being watched, recorded, and turned into content without even knowing about it. And I feel like this has gotten really bad, especially in the last few years, especially now in this age of social media where everything is about attention. Like, have you guys ever seen those TikTok videos or social media clips that blow up of just regular people living their lives with their family out in public, doing nothing crazy, and someone is secretly recording them, posting it online, and turning it into content for views and money? That's the kind of environment we're in right now. Those types of things are actually very common right now. At any given moment when you're out in public, and I'm talking about you, right? Someone could be recording you and you wouldn't even know. And honestly, I think that's scary. It's weird. It feels like an invasion of privacy.
You know, so bugged out. I did want to get those Meta glasses, but not to do what that dude was doing. I want to use it for making content, like when I do paintings and stuff like that, or doing the art on my iPad, you know, just stuff like that. But these people, you just recording somebody without their full consent, crazy.
It's creepy. I hate that shit. And if you're on Instagram, I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen those interactions that have been going viral lately, where people are walking up to strangers, having conversations, and then posting it online. And the whole time, they got these glasses that are basically recording the interaction. A lot of those are being filmed with what they call the Ray-Ban smart glasses. If you don't know what those are, they're basically glasses with built-in camera that lets you record videos hands-free without you holding up a phone. So creepy. So from the outside, it looks like just a normal person with glasses. You know, I got glasses right now, right? Imagine me talking to you on the street. It looks normal. And then the whole time I'm like recording the interaction and posting it online. So weird. I feel like most people are aware of the Ray-Ban glasses at this point, but just in case you didn't know, there you have it. It's so unsettling, but it's weird how normal it's become now. I don't even know how long this type of technology has existed. Somebody please let me know. But it definitely feels like it's becoming more and more common and more accepted every single day. So what Tyler is touching on here is a much bigger pervasive issue where just being out in public, just existing, you're at risk of being recorded and turned into content without your knowledge. And that's not okay. And this is also something he himself pointed out in what he said. He didn't just talk about it from the perspective of being famous. He connected it to everyday people like yourself and myself, right? He was mentioning things like being at the doctor's office, being at the grocery store, maybe buying some avocados or whatever you like to buy, and even brought up how things like Ring cameras and all these smart home devices are going to become even worse. It's starting to feel like there's no real off switch anymore is basically what he was saying. He even said at this rate, something as private as brushing your teeth or using the bathroom could end up becoming content without you even knowing. Super creepy. And when you really think about it, it feels like the boundaries of privacy have become extremely thin, almost to the point where they barely exist. And a big part of that, honestly, is just the fact that there's so much money in social media. Attention equals views, views equal money, so people have a clear incentive to exploit whatever they can, even if that's at the detriment of another human being. And of course, famous people like Tyler, the creator, become the biggest targets of this, because any interaction that he has with anybody in this world, if they know about him, they can try to use that to their advantage, because automatically that's going to get them attention, more views, more engagement, and ultimately more profit.
And then my whole thing would be, what is the ultimate goal of the person that's doing it? Like, to say, okay, you recorded Tyler, the creator, or whoever, what is it going to do for you then? Is it going to make you any money? He's a human being. He's just a human being, you know what I'm saying? Who just so happens to rap, and he made money doing that. So what do you intend to gain by doing all of that? That's really what I be wanting to know, because there can't be no monetary gain from it.
Profit, which is exactly why situations like this keep on happening. A lot of celebrities don't even speak on half the shit that they deal with when it comes to this, because the moment they do, they risk bringing more attention to it. And I've heard a few real life stories about this kind of thing. Somebody told me this story, but there is a well-known person. I'm not gonna say nobody's name because I'm not a messy motherfucker, right? Basically, someone tried to get close to them by going to their kid's school and waiting outside just to get a photo with them. Like, that's not just weird, that's generally disturbing. And the celebrity ended up getting a restraining order against this person, and they handled it privately, right? Without the media really finding out about it. And obviously the reason why it never became public is intentional. Because if you make a big deal out of something like that publicly, you're not just calling it out, you're also showing other unstable people, because there's a lot of these people out here, that this is a way for them to get to you and your family. And now you've created a blueprint for those crazy people. So instead of stopping it, you risk multiplying it. It's kind of like the strike.
Yeah, no, see, the problem is people ain't never had their ass whooped or really, had nobody, they ain't been touched. You know what I mean? And that's kind of the problem. Social media has definitely opened up that door for people to just feel okay with invading people's space, going to their house, squatting, waiting for them to pull up or something like that. Like, you really must want to get touched. You feel me? Like, is it really worth it? You know what I mean? You leave it at the music. I'm still a human being at the end of the day. Like, you need to respect that.
Sand, what do you call it? Streisand effect? That's the reality a lot of people don't think about. Because once it's out there, you can't control how the world sees it or how they interpret it. And when your family is involved, especially your children, the stakes are completely different. That's why a lot of this stuff gets handled quietly behind the scenes. Obviously, I don't know what it feels like to be in that position, and most of us don't. But I think a lot of people have this perspective.
I don't even want to know what that feels like, to be honest with you. Like, I wouldn't mind having the fortune. Like I said, that comes with its own set of problems, but you can kind of deal with that a little bit better than you could fame. Because with fortune, you can just tell a motherfucker, no, I ain't got it. Or you can point them in the direction they need to be going into in order to make them some monetary funds. But fame, it's like no matter where you go, somebody's gonna know who you are and they're gonna want a picture, or they just want to be a damn weirdo, be a creep. Feel me?
How easy, because you have all this money and success, it cancels out everything else that's negative. And yeah, sure, if you're that visible and successful, you're gonna have a lot of money, but you can't even go outside without being bothered. What the fuck is that money worth? If you can't sit down and eat without someone coming up to you, pestering you, like in the Ice Spice situation, she was just trying to eat her Big Mac or whatever, and this crazy person approaches you and attacks you while you're just trying to eat food, then what is all that money even worth at that point? Having your peace is priceless. I can't even imagine being in a position where you can't even go outside for a simple meal without people chasing you down or recording you.
The crazy thing with Kanye West, though, is that he's always been, a controversial figure. So because that's kind of like his persona, people just want to bring that out of him. You know what I mean? If he was more of a Michael Jackson type or a Prince type, people wouldn't bother him. You know what I mean? But yeah, comes with the territory, yo.
It's exhausting. And honestly, I'm kind of surprised someone like Tyler is still somewhat sane throughout all this, because I'm not convinced most people would handle it any better. I feel like you're watching this, you might have been crashing out constantly if you were in that position. And me too, I ain't gonna lie. And to be honest, if you did or I did, right, I wouldn't even blame you. And so with this kind of shift we're seeing, where the death of traditional celebrity culture is really taking effect, where people aren't putting celebrities on a pedestal the same way anymore, one thing that's starting to happen is that more celebrities are becoming very blunt and honest about what this life actually looks like behind the scenes. A very popular example that's been all over the internet the past few weeks is Chappell Roan. For anyone who doesn't know, Chappell Roan, I think that's how you say it, is a very popular artist in the mainstream world of music right now. And she's actually been very vocal about the side of fame that's not so appealing. And she's pretty much been kind of like crashing out about it for the last few years, ever since she blew up. And there have been multiple instances where she's openly expressed frustration with how invasive things can get. Recently, a few weeks ago, a clip of her in Paris went viral, where she posted a clip calling out paparazzi for harassment. I think at that point she was kind of like going to like a restaurant or something like that and just doing her thing, right? And they were standing outside trying to get pictures and trying to ask her a bunch of questions.
So I'm just trying to go to dinner, and I've asked these people several times to get away from me.
Please step to the side. Step to the side.
This person I've asked several times to go away, and they will not. These are all the people that are
Can you sign
completely disregarding all of my boundaries.
And that obviously adds to this conversation that we're having right now, because it's not just one person, it's becoming a pattern.
I ain't gonna lie. Being here in Metro Atlanta, in my 12 years living here, I've ran into a few notable figures. I ran into Ray Shrimmer way back before No Flex Zone came out. Ran into Adrian Bronner in Lenox Mall. I ran into light-skinned dude from Cousin Skeeter. Ran into him in Lenox. I walked past Amari Hardwick, Ghost St. Patrick. Walked past him. That nigga short as hell. Yeah. And it was no like fanned out moment. Like I really didn't care for real. You know what I mean? Because in my own mind, I'm like, yo, I'm just as important as you. So it didn't make me no different. But yeah, I guess maybe because for me, I just don't have that about me. So yeah.
More and more artists are starting to speak up about the reality of being constantly watched, followed, and documented, even in moments where they're just trying to live their lives. And she also went viral just a few weeks ago during an incident in Brazil. The story was that a Brazilian athlete, Jorginho, who used to play for Chelsea FC, called her out on social media. He claimed that her security guard made his stepdaughter cry during an encounter with the singer at a hotel in Brazil. The situation quickly blew up online, and the backlash got so intense that even the mayor of Rio de Janeiro stepped in and reportedly removed her from the Todo Mundo no Rio, which is one of the biggest music events in the world, and basically said that as long as I'm mayor, this girl is never going to perform in Rio. And then just a few days ago, Jorginho came out and said that the whole thing was a misunderstanding. But it kind of just goes to show these situations can escalate very fast. And once they hit the internet, they take a life of their own. And I don't think it's wrong for celebrities to speak on this. At the end of the day, this is their reality. This is something they have to deal with constantly. And I think the hardest part, looking at it from outside the club, is the fact that you're always under scrutiny. You're always on, or you have to be quote unquote always on. And so there's this constant pressure to be in performance.
You see, back in the day, like if you were a celebrity, you didn't really have to deal with this too much. I mean, people would, take snap pictures and you'd see yourself in Star Magazine, People Magazine, stuff like that. But you didn't really have to worry about too many people recording you or anything like that because we didn't have smartphones. So I would say being a celebrity back 30 years ago was probably the best time because you didn't have to worry about too much of this.
Performance mode, even when you're just trying to live your normal life and do what you got to do. I mean, life is already hard as it is. Like, life is already putting a bunch of pressure on all of us, right? And on top of that, now you got to deal with the fact that at any given moment, somebody could be watching you, recording you, judging you, and expecting some type of response from you. It makes sense why a lot of people in that position end up losing themselves in the lifestyle. Things like substance abuse. Because at a certain point, the only way to feel anything close to normal is through some kind of escape from the chaos, from the intensity, from constantly being on. And this actually reminds me of something I heard from someone who is really famous, or I would say they're definitely famous now still. I had a really short conversation with this person because I was just in the same building, right? But something they said stuck with me. And they basically told me that the only time they feel normal is when they're around people who don't remind them of who they are to the world. And I thought that was such a great insight on what it's like to be in that position. Basically, what they're saying is people who don't treat them like a celebrity, people who just treat them like another human being. And that made me think of this old tweet from 50 Cent back in 2010, like 15 years ago or 16 years ago now. Damn, that's a long ass time. 50 Cent said this on Twitter. "I can't believe my grandmother is making me take out the garbage. I'm rich. Fuck this. I'm going home. I don't need this." And it's funny, but it actually says a lot because in that moment, he's not 50 Cent. He's just Curtis being told to take out the trash. And that's probably one of the few environments where he can just exist without all this extra weight that comes with fame. So in a way, the best way to not get completely wrapped up in all this is having a space and people around you where you're just allowed to be normal. When you're in a position like a lot of these people, it's actually rare for them to come across others who don't treat them differently, who don't look at them through the lens of fame, money, or status. And because of that, they tend to keep their circles small, very tight, like some emo jeans, right? Or skinny jeans. Because we all know they do anything for clout. They do anything for clout. They do anything for clout. Fame, of course, can be a blessing. It comes with opportunities, money, access. But at the same time, the reality is that no amount of money is worth it if it comes at the cost of your peace. And the situation Tyler is in is especially interesting because he's been famous for a very long time, since he was a teenager. He's grown up in it. He's had to navigate it as he's matured. And now he's at a point where he's clearly reflecting on what it really means for his life. And I just don't understand people who don't respect the boundaries of others, man. It's crazy. And to the person who posted that footage, you should be ashamed of yourself. But at the same time, this isn't just about celebrities. I think a lot of us are just kind of tired of this social environment that we're in right now, because in some way, everybody experiences a version of this. Even if you're not globally famous, you might be the most known person in your neighborhood, or the most respected person at your job, or the most attractive person in your circle. Even at that level, there's still a degree of attention, scrutiny, and expectation that comes with that. We all have certain qualities, whether it's physical, mental, or just our personality, that make people notice us. And once you're noticed, there's always something that comes with that, which is why in a weird way, you might actually have more in common with these super famous people than you think. Because fame at its core is just a reflection of what people choose to value and pay attention to. And when you're in a position where people are constantly reacting to you, judging you, forming opinions about you that may not necessarily be true, it can start to feel like you're always performing, like you're never fully off. You never get to relax, and that's exhausting. So when you look at a situation like this, what you're really seeing is someone drawing a line,
right there.
saying
what is that,
enough is enough.
McLaren?
Now the reality is, once you reach a certain level of fame, you're never gonna have a completely normal life again, unless you completely disappear, stay out the public eye, I don't know, like move to Iceland or something. And even then, there's no real guarantee you can fully escape it. Personally, I don't think Tyler is being ungrateful or unreasonable here. I think he's just someone who's very outspoken, very self-aware. And instead of letting the world define his reality for him, he's choosing to speak on it and take control of the narrative himself. If you made it this far, drop a like on this video, subscribe if you're new here. My name is Blackie Speaks, nice to meet you. I'm curious what you guys think about what Tyler, the Creator, said. And just overall, when it comes to the whole concept of being famous, everything we talked about in this video, personally, what's your take on it? Y'all let me know in the comment section below, and I'll catch you guys in the next.
All right, it's going to be the end of the video, y'all. Yeah, I mean, I could agree with a lot of these celebrities and just wanting their piece, like that whole situation with Ice Spice. If y'all have not watched that reaction, make sure y'all check that out. But yeah, you know, you just want to be normal and, you know, be able to eat your food. And it's like, once you hit a certain status, it's like you can't be normal anymore. You know what I mean? You can't go back to being that person you once was before the fame and the fortune. You feel me? Where you can just be in a restaurant all to your liking and eat your food. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't want the fame. Give me the money. Give me the goddamn money. I'm good on the fame part. Like just a little bit, not too much, just a little bit. Like I could chill. I could be cool with like being YouTube famous. Like I might be at a spot and somebody recognize me like, oh, yo, I watch your videos. You know what I'm saying? You know, could I take a picture or whatever? I'm cool with that. But all the cameras and no, thank you. No, thank you. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. If you made it this far, I appreciate you. Make sure you check the like button, take the subway, and be sure to sound off in the comment section till they kick your ass out. That being said, it's your boy Robbie. Till the next video, I'm going.